Hello, good afternoon. My name is Suprem from Baksay. I'm Suprem of Supreme Lord Jesus Christ, in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I'm now stuck in England, in London, in the royal capital of England, in the European, in North Atlantic States about the English language, and I thought I'll be able to arrange already a year or 2 years or often not wrong, 3 years, and I've been here since 2004, so almost 10 years. And I was dating from United States of America, always I was trying to get to United States of America, and dating from Canada, always I was trying to get to Canada, and that was really exceedingly frustrating. Exceedingly, I was having so much of bad work, so much better before I was trying to United States of America, and so much worse after I was trying to America, that I am leaping through good experiences, excellent experience for salvation. I'm looking for Suprem and Suprem Yonder, Suprem God in highest heaven, and I'm trying to get salvation. Salvation to be excellent, exaltation and ascension to heaven. So I would like to be translated to heaven's glory, as Joshua had been ascended to heaven. If anybody would like to help, I've seen this video as a sort of mayday, rather than trying to get the English knowledge, so as something like a SOS. Hopefully, I'll get those most European looking friends, as I love really old people, but I'm most likely to friendship the Europeans. Those kind of with the African singer that we were singing about, she was very famous in the chart. I was singing about your SOS. The Baksay was trying to ascend to heaven, and he's only 34, and during watching the example of Supreme Lord Jesus Christ, and also Supreme Apostle, but I couldn't comprehend Jesus Christ so far. So I'm thinking, is there anybody who can comprehend? I believe yes, there are people there that could comprehend and could ascend even earlier than 33 to heaven, because Jesus is so lovely that He's given us beyond comprehension. It has some products that life here. If it's not, it's true, so that we need to comprehend with Jesus, because Jesus is comprehensible. And that to be explained that as Jesus was 2,000 years ago, He was ascended 33 years old, pardon, young, 33 years young, because He wanted to be saved from any Mormonism or Mormonism, or from any sorts of harmonism on the earth, and from many sorts of Hinduism and other doctrines of journalists and presidents, they are dead and decomposed. So what is the difference between presidents of first presidents, president general, presidents of the society, and Jesus Christ? Jesus Christ lived 33 years, and He was at once not sleeping longer whatsoever, equal heartbeat or her heartbeat, no longer than 33 or 34 hours. For instance, I am responsible and planning to always have heartbeat and always breath until I ascend to heaven, and I will be in heaven also. I just will be glorified, much more glorified, glorified, even as Jesus Christ. So I had here since one time I was thinking about English words, and I was sometimes afraid to say hello to them. So is it not a hell? Then comes in the morning, I'll say on the beginning hello, and then I have hell in the morning, every morning. I want to get up at 5, and I'm getting up barely at 8. So I maybe say just good morning or good afternoon. But will I get it here in England? Hopefully I'll be privileged someone more. We had movie just before, and we was sort of teased upon by some spirits, and we could not name Thomas Fitzmaurice in relation to some words that we doesn't want to say in this video. And it was absolutely overwhelmed by some powers there. You always see that word. We will not upload the video until April. Anybody can see the video before. We will leave your own chart as CR Rosemary. Even there, we are having only approximately 1/6 part of the national minimum, and in Great Britain that is approximately 67 pounds per week. Plus some other glorious allowances we're grateful for, like Freedom Pass, or we're students of Kansas College, London University, Doctor, 34 years old, still in college, so very close to this, so we maybe need to have some more friends. So maybe just blessing of Jesus Christ, some more of quality blessing of Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is the most quality blessing, especially to me. So that's what we're getting hopefully could not get to 23 years of age, or 23 years young university degree. But now, as we are 34, we are enrolled to a college and we're thinking what shall we be grateful for? We're grateful for the membership in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter Saints. So those friends of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter Saints would like to be Orthodox Church of Jesus Christ from the saints of first presidents of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter Saints. One of the saints, first Francisco Johnson Monzon, is called some say the House in 2014 knows about the saints of first presidencies and general presidencies. Why am I mentioning the woman? Because she is wife of general president and first president of the Jesus Christ of Latter Monzon, and they have really exceedingly glorious keys to administer fullness of Christ on earth now, fullness of heaven on earth now, but are still sort of stuck instead of heaven on earth, they're stuck in some sort of war in Iraq or war in Afghanistan, and something that they already withdrawn from war in Afghanistan and withdrawn from war in Iraq, but it's still, I seen some pictures a week ago, and I see the Iraqi soldiers without American soldiers, but still in sorts of battles there, or acting battles with weapons in sorts of terrorist uniform. And it seemed as terrorists, they had sorts of masking, not such American uniformity or British uniformity or Slovak uniformity at times. So there was some sorts of uniformity of sorts of, this Pakistan uniform. So I think that also shall not be done to Iraq. I believe that Iraq shall commit really qualities as Israel, maybe not as many guns, maybe they should protect it by neighborhood countries as they can contract with Saudi Arabia, Iran, maybe Turkey. They might not be weapons, they might not be attempts to use the weapons. I think that it's much better than to use the weapons. Why Americans have weapons? So we think that in America they still need some weapons, but they might maybe promise to all other nations that they will not attack them, and if they'll defend themselves, they will defend all of these sorts of airspace and earthspace that is borders to North America. I think that promise might have done. I was there thinking to be American president, and I was planning that as I would be American president, I would say Canada, just like French from Canada together. Just to get Canada to be United America, and also Mexico, and also European Union, also Russian Federation, Ukraine, Russia, all the NATO, and I was thinking to get Islam only to Arabia and to Iran. And there is Islam free, and elsewhere only Christian and Jews. This is what I was thinking myself, so it was maybe Utah telling me that I'll not bombard them because I'm a good American president, so I'll permit the Utah without bombarding. Why was thinking to bombard Utah? Because they were bombarding here everywhere, and they was using the authority of Lord Jesus Christ to bombard other nations. And we were so shocked. I was born, and we realized that Utah bombarded our birthplace. Utah bombarded Moscow. Utah bombarded Germany. Utah bombarded London. Utah bombarded New York, the World Trade Center, and maybe also by Germans. Who knows? Captain America movies revealing that there was some Mormon German bombarding in New York in the Second World War. That they was doing some sorts of terrorist attacks there, and Japan was bombarded, and not even China as well. So real hell were not to know everything. I love Utah people. I would like to marry one of Utah. I was asking for Lisa Clinton select a wedding. So would we be so lovely to one another? And I'm 34 years old. I would like to marry. Would we hell one another to focus on the goodness of Jesus Christ, repenting from Afghan wars, from any sorts of Cold Wars or Iraqi wars or Libya wars or Syria wars. I'm not to remember all these sorts of wars that was happening. Rather not. Let us remember how wonderful is a vegan farming. But Church of Jesus Christ is such a sweet, glorious church. Do we need to kill animals? Do we need to really assassinate these glorious creatures of God and eat them like cannibals? But they have two eyes, they have noses, they have mouths, teeth, and milk they give as well. The mother doesn't have as much milk in their reception, so we can reach the goats or the cow milk, and we can pasteurize it or just make it suitable in this Mormon time. And children may have drink also on the common. So we would rather not do anything else. It's protecting the families of people mainly, but also the animals, not to kill them, not to eat them. And we will not have any hunger, so we are so good in agriculture. We can raise food and dresses, if it is dresses from cotton, or if it is ham dress, or if it is celluloid dress, it's modern celluloid hairs, whole fiber figures from celluloid. So we therefore can do from trees and from forests also dresses and quality dresses that are fleece up the skin and so whole body. So I think they are also cotton, also ham, also quality vegan food, vegan dresses. I believe they are shall be kind to people and to animals to enjoy the fullness of the blessings of the earth, fullness of the earth, and to also justice terms of justice to heaven. If I ever see it in any movie, so this, friends, like in this sort of poverty places, not because we have to glorious, so we are rich, and so if I ever said anything that was like, I actually, in this movie, I don't want to mention, but this movie, I wanted that. This movie is absolutely peaceful and a source of healing for our soul and might be healthy. So how can we be completely healthy? I was born in Czechoslovakia, socialist republic, and I realized that there is communism and socialism, and there is Soviet military, and I realized that Soviet military would like to be named liberators. So we are about to learn that Soviet military was liberators, and then we learned about American military. They have different signs. We couldn't even recognize the star, but the American sign. So Russia, we quickly realized that it's a red star, and later we was already realized that the Americans a white star, as it was grown up. And now we also learn about European Union, yellow star. So what we actually realized that there was a first president since 1830 governing, and that they was doing some sorts of Indian wars. Maybe they was afraid of Indians. Maybe they was afraid of those other churches that was harassing Joseph Smith and was assassinating her. Joseph Smith. So they was afraid also Indians, and I was afraid also white people, and they were clashing them together. That they will just please get all the socialites and not assassinating Joseph Smith nor harassing members of the Church of Jesus Christ. Because we would like to name members of the Church of Jesus Christ, maybe Church of Jesus Christ of our Celestial Ascension. I mean, instead of LDS, Church will be all. So youth was up. Thank you, youth. Youth and beauty. O C A. Church. OCHH. Of our Celestial Ascension. Church of Jesus Christ of our Celestial Ascension. Much better than Church of Jesus Christ. Let us say, just remember, Joseph Smith, Joseph Smith didn't want to actually change the name of the church. Joseph died. And I want to change the church. So I might have stepped forward to Jesus Christ, who ascended to heaven, to translate to heaven's glory. So I believe that that's how we should think to translate Ranatri as primary. That we have here many children with fresh and sensitive ear, delicate ear, and hearing and eyes, and smell and taste, and very sensitive to hear what, for instance, me, Suprem, Baksay will have to say to us. Can we be saved as children of God? And yes, I testify to you that we can be saved. Also those smaller children, little children, and also those greater grown-up children, if they are already fathers, or if the fathers of Scripture, can be saved. And salvation is Jesus Christ. Supreme Lord Jesus Christ is our salvation. How can we be saved? For instance, I was wondering, we maybe need to change some priorities in the Church of Jesus Christ. Let's say, and instead of focusing on first division of Jesus, first division of Jesus is important. It's very important. Each child shall think to have first vision. Each child shall think to seek the Father and not just guys. But we need to prepare and actually teach the person, or while we teach the person what we say to Suprem and Suprem Yahweh, so we might have something better to experience if we compare Joseph Smith to us, or Brigham Young, or just someone more important. There was a more glorious time, right? And if Joseph Smith was ascending to heaven, I wish Joseph Smith to ascend to heaven, and I wish Brigham Young and Joseph to ascend to heaven. If he was ascend to heaven, I might think, people are exceedingly important, and they are extremely important, but they're dead. So all the official messages of Jesus Christ, Joseph, Brigham, and Joseph, Lawrence are dead. And Joseph Smith was so angry that they died, they did the First World War, and the whole world was in war. And there was French war, and Russians war, and Slovaks, Bulgars, and all was war. Better than Scottish war from the best place in someone. There's a feeling that there is a war between Americans, English, Germans, Austrians, and Russians. There was the First World War, and then there was the Second World War, and then the Cold War. And then after Cold War, Yugoslavia. Americans and British attacked Yugoslavia. And Slovaks, I was from Slovak, Czechoslovak, Socialist Republic, and everything. So how can we be safe from all this? I believe that we need to persuade First Presidents and Court of Apostles to cease to be as Joseph Smith and Brigham Young, but to begin to be as Jesus Christ in heaven. And to cease to farm as Joseph Smith and Brigham Young. Joseph Porter was to eat really flesh, and to see lots of blood of flesh. There's actually one also Joseph is vegan. So we have always Joseph saying that he was sent to have all these messages of the grave of Joseph Smith. Somewhere in Palmyra, North, they were showing the grave somewhere in North Illinois, near Illinois. So we actually hope to have white lips, especially heavenly white lips, whites on heavenly white lips. At the moment we have black red. And we like to have perfectly white and straight teeth and alternate two teeth. But it seems that it will be ceramic later. But we're doing our best to brush our teeth, sometimes twice in the morning, and doing our best also throughout noon and afternoon, morning, noon, afternoon, evening, and night. We would like to brush ourselves. So, brothers and sisters, this all will help us to repent from the sins of this world, will help us to ascend to heaven. Is there anything else? Vegan farming was mentioned. Is there any noticeable vegan farming? We now also to grown-ups, to elderly, but or those who was officially reported dead, as Joseph Lawrence, and Joseph F. Smith, Heaven's Grand George, Aldous Smith, David McKay, Joseph Lewis Smith. Those also was reported officially dead. Their wife was officially reported dead. Their little side president was reported dead. Then after Joseph Lewis, then Hellbilly, Spencer Cadogo, Esther Benton, Horribly Hunter, Gordon Hinckley was reported dead. Francis Beverly Johnson also was reported dead. And now we have Julie Bangerbeck still alive. Maybe some more journalists on the presidents, Barbara Winkler or some other. I actually was baptized by coordination of Barbara Winkler and her husband, President Winkler. They was visiting my mother. She was 6 years of age in 1950s in Brno in Czechoslovakia. After World War, Czechoslovakia was just getting the qualities and the scouting there, and maybe suddenly also pioneers and those binding sealers. We had many sealers that used to bind and seal, after pioneers and the sealers age, and sealers for sealing, and it was sealers of the temple. So there was always the temple, the living Jesus Christ, and looking for the eternity, the sealers, the eternal mirrors of the temples of Jesus Christ. There was nothing of sealers out to be. And there was the good people. And I believe that we shall now find this tradition of sealers and do somewhat better. So what can we do, brothers and sisters? I think that we can understand equality. And I realized that since I was born, didn't have more than 3,200 pounds a year. That's very small per year. I believe that we should have someone more of them. We have such a room, expansion, so loud. So we might have peace, as we said, and glory of ascension, peace. Then we might have vegan farming, vegan dresses, striving to have really everything vegan. And because I realized that there's some sorts of problem, and the problem is that President Monson wants to be iniquitous. He wants to have iniquitous family of his office of a president. He's supposed to do this to be burned from 1 to 10 million per year, and Ireland maybe almost the same. Current of losses, Roman 70s, the presence of some Roman 70s day already less, so the 7th concept you cannot have as the presence of 70, and that's not true. But this means you have absolutely the same funding, each one. My personal office to have same funding, same amount of money for my housing, same radius of the housing, same quality of the housing, and something that is not possible to rotate, rotor. There's some revolving, um, residing. So that needs to be there. President Monson will understand that his bungalow is no more for him, but for some young people, and need to move to flats. Why? Because he needs to have to deal with these military crimes. Too many people. In 5 years, there was at least 3 great wars President Monson organized. Just let us count: Afghan War, Iraqi War, and each of these wars was in those 5 years at least one person killed by the evil President Thomas Spencer Monson, really evil person. And now, how can we help President Monson to love children and to not burden them with grievous burdens to bear, with this preparing grave problems? How can we be saved from the sins of Thomas Spencer Monson? How can President Monson confess that he's got fools of the authority and presses bloody flesh, and gives to missioners that they also might partake of flesh and blood of animals, that the future generation might not be much smarter as Monson's generation. So what was not as smart as Monson's generation, we are grateful for the goodness they did. They did some goodness. We have also housings, also computers, also dresses, also freedom to think, to have vegan food, and freedom to think, to have equality. But brothers and sisters, we need to be that each member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints will have, since birth or before birth, 5,000 pounds sterling or American dollars, US dollars per week. And as a minimum, brothers and sisters, 5,000 pounds sterling, Great Britain, or 5,000 United States American dollars per week is minimum funding our offices. How can I now bring report for 60 pounds per week and I have every military guarding any of education, any of employment, any of my progress? It's guarded. I can't even get dressed except through experimental laws that only Muslims can, or only some American Utah little Mormons or grown-up Mormons. Now let us think what Mormon means. President Thomas Monson was doing such a campaign that he is Mormon. Because I am really saying the Lord Jesus Christ down. I am Suprem Apostle of Supreme Lord Jesus Christ. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ. And churches at the moment, Saturn and Solis in Utah say President Thomas Monson is president of his presidency, but it's really wonderful what the President Thomas Monson does and burdens the church with the war and with the grievous burdens to bear and the grievous yoke that President Monson is commanding to bear. And the Supreme Apostle was really with Jesus Christ. So Jesus Christ is descending and reconciling Monson with Jesus Christ. It's true that we are people that believe in Jesus Christ, and we will not permit that any harasser like Monson will harass us, but will persuade the United Nations, NATO President, and European President to persuade United States of America President, the FBI will invade Utah and will organize that we might be saved from terror of Thomas Monson. And why is that necessary? Because President Monson did really a lot of war, and also even some war. In 5 years, we are now in 2014. So we had here Libya war. Gaddafi was assassinated by President Monson. I'm not saying that personally, no. President Monson, with all the authority of Jesus Christ, the president of President Cisco, has lots of authority. He was assassinated Gaddafi. And it is after many years that President Monson was misguided the Gaddafi to sorts of communism, sorts of socialism, sorts of atheism. So we actually didn't want any such war. European was involved in the conflict of Monson, and Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was really organizing conflict. And it's just not good to organize such conflict because people are really burdened with burden. And President Monson will say something like that: we shall be just happy that we don't have Middle Ages. Because otherwise, President Molotov could attack the European Union by the American military, or by his friendships with the Soviet Union, or by friendship with Russia, or could attack Russia. And we really had a war also with Russia in 2008. President Molotov was attacking by Russia Georgia, and Georgia was feeling harassed and was replying, and Russia was losing at least 2 airplanes as they was attacking Georgia. And many civilians in Georgia was killed, and only about 1 or 2 Russian soldiers was killed. And that was only conflict. He was praying. He was really scared of this war because it was close to Europe. Georgia is actually eventually a European country, and we were scared. What is that for scare? And the Russian Federation was attacking. And it was 2008. And we was praying, and Russia was really soft-hearted. And it was Olympic Games in Peking in China at the time. And it was praying, and Russia really was saying, if they're praying, and if I, Suprem Baksay, people praise for us, I will not worry more. I mean, it's really peace. And I was really scared and shocked that it could happen that such a war as President Thomas was really happening. So we was then sometimes thinking that, or rather the summer part, not summer part of the war. And that's how I need to give a statement. This is that crazy American Anglican Mormons, like Molotov, harassing the world. And they was doing also, the World Trade Center they was putting down. Literally, with the American president, they decided, and 2 airplanes was hitting the World Towers, and they were saying, and they was lying. So all worldwide public, and they said that that was by some terrorists there was, and it was dude. This they was really doing. There was actually camouflaging. And is it correct to do such thing to primary or tertiary specialists is used to program them to die in wars? No, it is not correct. And it is used not afraid. They are exceedingly afraid. I was speaking to youth of the tertiary specialists, and they are so afraid that they was rather swearing at me that they might rather die instead of helping me, that we might have petition done, and also 10,000 or 100,000 signs. No, I actually remember we was persuading the youth of the tertiary specialists and primary children of the tertiary specialists, and the person was permitting actually petition. So I have petition, but I'm 7 signs here, maybe 8. I'm 7. My signing was 8. So that's not enough. We need to have 8,000, 80,000, 800,000 signs. Petition is actually that the members of the tertiary specialists are sent to heaven, so might have such a division of Christianity that believes in Jesus Christ, and through the goodness and through the almighty power of Jesus Christ, that some members of the tertiary specialists like me, like Suprem Baksay, might ascend to heaven. But there's such a terror we had by military, by state president, by mission president, by temple president, by with up-jump president, our new president, besides American president, also is British actually. So we had here bishops that they were so extremely harassing us with military and with others that we couldn't actually get more signs. And we are happy that we are free and we are really hopefully ascended to heaven too. Or maybe we can have wedding first, because we realize that these military Muslims, they are quite liberating us. So we can ascend to heaven, or we can lawfully marry, or we can lawfully marry and procreate and ascend to heaven. So we have several options for free agency. We most likely to ascend to heaven immediately, but if we are still walking here for another 5 minutes or 10 minutes, we need to find a wife. So I'm most likely, if there are already some young women of the Church of Jesus Christ, they're approximately 16 or with their parents also younger, as a family meeting, not as a dating or courting, but as a family meeting, we can also meet young women, and maybe whole family with children, and we might meet, and I might arrange my wedding. There will be an official wedding in Salt Lake Temple, at an office maybe in Utah, in Salt Lake City, and I said maybe listeners women also younger, somewhere between 16 to start courting, and then I'd say as she turned 18 or Lindsay will like hopefully earlier. We're not sure who it might be, but someone similar to Lindsay's spiritual we hope. What is the aim and credo? We would like to emphasize and focus on transfiguration of Jesus Christ, essential of Jesus Christ in heaven, and applying from the sins of presidents of first presidency like Joseph Reagan and Johnson, George Albert Smith. We would like to, from their sins, to be translated to ascend to heaven. So that's it. We would like to have. And yeah, transfiguration of Jesus Christ, ascension of Supreme Lord Jesus Christ. Heaven as well as our ascension. We would like to vegan, so that's the second step. And third step, we would like to equitize, we would like to be equal dose, and we would like to do at least these $5,000 per week. We would like each member to have, and we would like to candidate for the United States of America presidential election. We ensure that I will be president of the United States of America. Slovak will be part by plebiscite referendum, part of the United States of America. I just organized a plebiscite referendum from within Slovakia. That was impossible. I actually am not yet well established in Slovak Republic. I have only social, so from homeless to social flat, and small allowance by Her Majesty II. Together with Monty, that was permitting me such very small allowance. That's approximately um, how much it is just what, 3,200 pounds per whole year. 3,200 pounds per whole year in case, and otherwise, that is, and otherwise I have something like kind of money, but it's housing benefit. It's also glorious because it's 100 per week. Then approximately 5,200, but 5,000 50, yeah, 5,200 per year. Just to get 8,400, and I also have constant benefit there. Working hosting accounts. Constant benefit that's maybe 1,000 a year. 2,000 a year. 800 a year. So that's already over 9,000 per year. So we see that that's really not enough. So I need to have some more. This is wonderful Mac, I like to have at home. But maybe also more computers where we know that there's Thomas also need great funding. And it's just the same optical, literally. They can also do airplane. Also need to visit someone, prepare testimony, also need to write talk, also need to have friends to meet, also to welcome the church, also to have temple recommend. You can need to have temple recommend. Because you can have university of temple recommend. What is that for swearing on children? Every child is baptized to temple, but also small children from primary come to temple. I mean, it is really true that temple recommendation issues to each member and increase record children. Only visitors visit the center, but also our increase record children or members of the church need to have temple recommend. That's necessity. So first of all, shall cease to swear children, cease to swear their unword, or also use their non-unword, and to say that they're in shame all the time. This is not appropriate. What if we have now Jesus Christ saying that there's most need to be homeless, and Jesus was seemingly not having a home since he was baptized. He was just walking somewhere in the desert and leading people might get him a roof over head or shelter. So that's what we should not say. We should say that Jesus Christ was as he wants to be, and he grants us free agency to be as we want to be. And we would like to ascend to heaven anyway, because there is always, for instance, if anybody would like to go to this power scene, hold there is still option that they will not eat flesh. For the person most eats flesh like ham or chicken. Is it not much worse than boredom? Yes, it is much worse. One sandwich with chicken is much worse than a boredom. Boredom is just people that love each other and that like to put powers together in a group setting. I'm not saying that children should be boredom or youth. They're not. They have free to be chased, and they should be protected also by lawyers. They may be chased, or maybe even must be chased. But people that are 18 or over, they should really have permission to instead of to go to war to kill Afghan or to eat flesh and to organize criminality by some people that doesn't really have its personal interest are just guided to answers to crime because they are poor and impoverished and doesn't know what to do with their few coins. And it's true that President Monson was doing such things and was doing lots of criminality and was criminalizing people and was also filling the American jails with people. And I wonder that it's not anymore happening. American public and European public and North American public so really make sure that there will not be anybody persecuted nor in jail. No criminality will happen. This will be like a vegan. I think at least the Church of Jesus Christ listens, vegan farming is necessity. Otherwise, if it doesn't matter, they can be vegetarians, and if they was protecting body flesh, so they absolutely could do it. Because they didn't have money, how could they buy such expensive vegan alternatives? They're very expensive, and so the only apples. Now, if I had, for instance, my wife as American Vietnamese or Utah Vietnamese or such an excellent, beautiful wife, my also Vietnamese, and 10 children since 2004, right? It's already 10 years. So I could have already 10 children. So I was maybe able to eat one apple per 24 hours or one apple per week. And I was happy anyways because it's such a happiness that children to have their friends visiting and to have wife. And I'm not saying that we would avoid ability to be in martyrs. We can also change. I'm saying that the persecution of President Muslims for foreigners is so great, and to foreigners is so great, that it is, the President Muslim is almost saying that the martyrdom is worse than the Iraqi war, where President Muslim was killing more than 20,000 on both sides. Or how many was it? We're saying that even more than 20,000. I was not checking the numbers, but the religious and general presence is not the number. Religious and general presence was stating that even 300,000 of people, and eventually small children inclusive, was killed by President Thomas Benson had been hiring, and also Dietrich Rudder was general authority, was responsible for the Iraqi war since 1988 or 89. It was straight after Calgary Olympic Games in '88. The war was happening this year. So perhaps we need to now reconcile ourselves Supreme, devoting the Supreme Yahweh and ascend to heaven. I'm sure that if we will love it one another, it will be easy now, I say to you, that we might have some more offers to you. And I'm saying that if I were President of the United States of America, I will not persecute any of those trespassers on the past. I understand that we have evolution also in the church, or evolution. Also in church we have evolution. And in evolution, yes, so glorious to see that Brigham Young included Sakura was also university. Sakura they had also pencil, and they also had maybe paper in a university. And now we have such modern Brigham Young University that they have also satellite. We have satellite, almost satellite device. They actually took the moon with NASA. They was floating to the moon, and it's really amazing what we have for evolution in the Church of Jesus Christ. And we will have some more of it, we will have some more of love, and we're forgiving. So your sins are forgiven you, also those who are members of the Church of Christ. Also those who are not members, we need to give them some mercy. They might like to come to church of Jesus Christ. They might feel as kings and queens, as princes and princesses of Christ Jesus, and they might like to ascend to heaven too. And it's not only white people, it is also different races. So it's the Asian, blacks, brown people, and people are first. I think we should bring all of the make white to be with white, something Chinese Asian with Chinese Asian, the Indians with Indians. Which is just, can you imagine that you would like to marry a white woman as a white person, not a blonde woman as a blonde person, and you like to marry a blue eye if you're a light green eye, or green eye and blue eye, and now come Africans and you and Chinese and say you can only marry African Chinese, black and black, or you always Chinese looking. And I think it's really harassment, it's racism literally, and we have that around Europe. And I believe that should not happen. I mean, if there shall not be any hatred against Africans, but it should not be hatred against whites. So whites should be permitted to have happiness and freedom and liberty and weddings and marriages and friendship. And also skin should be permitted not to think, who is my hair is really pink or yellow white pink. It's really open. And I see more than 100 Africans per day. But that was happening to me, and I was really actually white. So I hold my hair very long time up and white, and then I put it down again and pink. That's just, they should help one another to not be harassed, nor white to be harassed by Africans, nor black to be harassed, or Africans to be harassed by white. We need to permit that we will have beauty here on earth as white, and Africans will have their beauties in Africa, and Asian or Arabs that are brown or black, that they're in their Asia or Arabia, and also the Chinese that are almost white or yellow. They also to have their whiteness, their yellowness, and their rights, human rights, and religious freedoms there in Asia, and that would be beautiful. And we have already seen the evolution so far. We still think so that it's now already the music of the future to release people from prison and to cause them to be lawful instead of to organize anything else. To really establish such a glorious piece of ascensions of individuals, marriage couples, and families in the highest heaven. So we have it here so beautifully in Covent Garden as in the church, and then we might sing the beautiful hymns of Jesus Christ, maybe with some more quality of voices and more quality of might. I testify that Jesus Christ wants us to translate Devil's story and wants us to experience such a personal renewal So renewal of spirit and body named salvation might be upgraded, our minds might be upgraded as students are upgraded. We grow. Also those who are already um, sort of higher age, the later youth, 34 years of age, or later youth, like most very young man, 80, 70 years of age. So he's very young, 87. So we believe that if youth shall prepare very speedily to ascend to heaven, it's 33. But also those who are as me, 34, or elder, or maybe younger, or more years of age, they also to ascend to heaven too. Now we start to see about how shall people know that those who believe in Jesus Christ are disciples of Lord Jesus Christ. They are really disciples of our Maker. They might feel it and know it. That they are to be trusted. Brothers and sisters, we need to repent from sins and first precedents in the Church of Jesus Christ. Lessons for this sort of global hell that comes upon people if they are approximately age 100. They are then placed in the grave and are decomposed, naturally hell. We don't want to experience that. We want to be saved as Jesus ascended to heaven. So let's think how people can know. As I have loved you, from the sun, is your commandment, love one another. For this commandment, say you are my disciples, if you have loved one another. Let's say, for instance, as we finally pass the feet. President Thomas Morgan did something positive here in London with the optimistic. He organized Book of Mormon musical as a secret. It's a great secret. As I was asking in church, Book of Mormon musical business center, there was kind of a sister, there was a wife of president of business center in London, and she was selling the Book of Mormon musical as evil. The Book of Mormon musical is bad, and then she doesn't want to see it, and then I should also keep off from. I already seen the Book of Mormon musical before I spoke to her. I just was thinking that it might be such a fun to the church Book of Mormon musical. But that's what we want. There was missionary names I got the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. There was maybe more conservative as those actors of Book of Mormon musical. I like Book of Mormon musical. We have it in London now, in Prince of Wales Theatre. I think the Prince of Mormon Kennedy well done. That. I would like to have something more perfect, like missionaries in Book of Mormon musical was sharing the gospel instead of in Africa. Book of Mormon musical at this time, 2014, I said that they could share the gospel in Slovak Republic, Slovak. That they could choose that exemplary good Slovak. And those Africans was also sort of exemplary good Africans. They was having only one capacity. And it's sitting there somewhere. Book of Mormon musical and mission president up here and Africans saying what is ridiculous. They're ridiculous, and the musical was ridiculous and odd, and repenting, and I was all missionaries, and I was sharing the gospel, evangelizing, and singing a lot. So that's would be appreciating. I was also having signed by Gavin Creel as acting Elder Price, and I was excited for goodness of Gavin Creel. There was such rumors there. I don't even want to say that, but there was rumors. I would like to marry one wife to her. And I was down by the idea of Brigham Young and of Shalamun. They have really many wives. But then I seen this tremendous terror there because the Muslims did to some with the most members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or ex-convicted members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, or reformed Church of Jesus Christ. And there was many wives, 16 or more, and then there was jail for that. So that's what I would more likely experience. I believe that we shall meet a man to marry one wife. Or if they marry more wives, we shall not swear them to have polygamous. I believe that we shall say that. If they marry one or more, it's just marriage. So I think to advocate Brigham Young is not only to be such a Brigham University student or applicant of Brigham University professor or sympathizer of Brigham University, but I believe that we shall be permitted also to receive American citizenship, American nationality, and also to have influence American Constitution in the form of petitions. How can we do such petitions? I was trying to be intellectually so strong, and I get only 7 signs to my personal ascension my friends to heaven. We was actually not petitioning to have rights of more wives because we was thinking to have only one at that time. But in between, as we was organizing petition to ascend to heaven, President Monson maybe Jesus Christ was making this change. So we sometimes thinking to have even more. We are 34, not in any way. So if I was 20, I remember I was 21, I was absolutely sure only one wife. And until I was about 33, I was thinking to have one wife. Now as I'm before, I started to read, Brigham Young was the university summer in America. So you get 44 wives, but I feel more comfortable with so many friends, so many children is born. So that is also one of the ideas. Brigham University has many remarks for that episode. So, brothers and sisters, if we can help one another to understand these videos and to be interpreters, if we can help one another to jump the together, I'm sure that that will help us to ascend in due time, and there is no greater happiness. I think all those that are willing to stay for, I think you are thinking that there is great works of souls this side of God, and we shall all desire to be as God. And I actually say farewell. So love you. Bye. God be with us again.